Welcome to the SoulAbility Superhuman Laboratory, where we uncover the secrets to upgrading your mind, body, soul, and business. Hey guys, on today's episode of the My SoulAbility podcast, we have chiropractor turned laptop lifestyle mentor and fellow podcaster, the chiropractic philanthropist, Dr. Ed Osburn. Dr. Ed, thank you for joining me on the SoulAbility podcast. I just want you to tell people a little bit about yourself. Some people may know you because you're all over the internet, but just tell people a little bit about yourself. You're a chiropractor. You have a virtual practice now. You're teaching people how to literally break free out of the matrix and do what they love and live their lives. I'll just give it to you.
So, let's see, who am I? Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, chiropreneur. I guess, I'm still trying to ease into the fact that I may actually be a retired chiropractor now. So I help people in other ways than with my hands in my practice now.
Right.
I'm a dad, so a father. I'm a husband. I'm a reluctant leader now, it seems. But yeah, that kind of pretty much encompasses me. I'm pretty passionate about what I do. So when I say what I do, I like to think that I liberate people. Yeah, it's people, chiropractors, professionals from the limitations that they have in terms of their thinking of that they aren't enough to actually have a business or a life that they desire that can be outside of their existing four walls. So they're brick and mortar. Yeah. That's really what I love doing.
Yeah. I think like you said, you were like a new leader, but you probably always have been a leader, right? You had your own practice, you were running, but you don't feel like it. You just feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And as a chiropractor, like, I don't like to put labels on things. I feel like, I'm a chiropractor because that's my training. But like the reasons why I got into it are not just because I wanted to adjust people. I wanted to really just help people progress. And that's what I love. I don't know if you feel the same. That's why, why did you choose that profession in the first place?
The honest answer is a girl. So
that's a lot. That's a lot of answers for a lot of things. I get it.
So my wife, we did the hard work. We sold everything we had. She got into chiropractic college down in San Francisco. So we made this move from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, drove in this 1980 Mercury Monarch rusted out bucket car with all our stuff and our two cats across the country so that she could go to chiropractic college for 3 years. And the only way I could stay in the country was to actually go to school myself. So I started going to college, and next thing you know, I got a college degree because I did it really quickly. And I was like, well, what do I do now? Well, all my friends were chiropractors and my wife was becoming a chiropractor. So it just seemed like it was like I got sucked into the world of health professionals and chiropractic. And it was pretty much the best decision I've ever made in my life. It's what led me to being where I am today. Which is, I think I'm slowly still trying to find, what is my soul purpose? Like, why am I here? And I'm every day I get a little closer to that, to that place.
I think that's pretty awesome. I feel like I didn't know I wanted to be a chiropractor in the first place. I was a bodybuilder. I was working for supplement companies. I wanted to start my own company. And it's just like the universe kind of pushed me there. I got fired, I just ended up there. All right. And I did it. And I'm where I'm at now. So it's really interesting that you said that your wife is one of the reasons why you did it. 'Cause, I wanted to ask you, because I saw that your wife is kind of like, she's been by your side throughout this whole process, and then she's still there right now. I just saw a video that she posted. It was like about her and her why. And she's kind of doing something similar to you, but she's teaching women. Like, that's her focus, right? Am I wrong?
Well, she's, honestly, I'm more of a strategic launch strategist, you could say, for helping people create online businesses. So although I think you're more than that. Because it's like strategy is like,
you can learn strategy and there's technique and like you can learn the technology, but you're really just like liberating people and shifting their mindset.
As I said, reluctant to go into that area, but I see that, the more I resist, the more I see that, I think I need to be there. I think that's what really a lot of people need, whether it's an entrepreneur, a chiropreneur, anyone in business or in life. They need someone in their back, who's got their back.
Absolutely.
Who's invested in themselves and done the work that can take them from where they are to where they want to be. And it sounds like a cliche, but I'm slowly kind of coming to that place. But I just described my wife. So she is a badass, like, mindset mentor and coach for women who want more. That's essentially what she is. And she's always been that coach and mentor in my corner, but now, she's doing it for women. And I mean, she has a podcast, Women Wanting More. It's hit 1 million downloads.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great.
Could you imagine 1 million people have listened to her message? And then you wonder, like, how did she make the transition from a brick and mortar practice to coaching and mentoring women and entrepreneurs? It's because so many people connected with her message, right? We're talking about soul, right? Soul genius.
Absolutely. Think about if you had to reach 1 million people from, like, your little practice. If the internet didn't exist, it would just never happen.
Yeah. Dude, I started down this road 2 years ago, just 2 years ago.
That's it.
Broke guy sitting in his basement, started a podcast. That's it. That's all it is, and it's all about, just the more clarity that you get into, and, the more you listen. I talk about the voice, right? The more that I listen to the voice, it just seems to kind of bounce, you bounce around and just find your path as you go through life. And if you really listen and tune into that voice, the next thing you know, you're in that next level of expansion. God, I got all these cliches, but it's true. It's true. Like, it is true. I'm proof. Karen's proof. It happens, but I think a lot of us, what we do is we resist. We're like, well, I can't do that. I'm not qualified. I'm not enough.
Yeah.
And so we coast, or we just deny, our greatness.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because that's like where you're ending up. That's what the voice has been telling you. That's kind of what, I resist a lot of things too, but I feel like that's what being a chiropractor is about too. You're like shifting people's mindset to realizing that they have the power to heal themselves, and that traditional path of medicine is maybe not the way to go all the time. Like, it's helpful in some aspects, but I have like a good relationship with a lot of medical doctors, and I have, a physical therapist in my office too. And I know a lot of chiropractors they try to stay away from like all that stuff. And I think that it's important, right? But the most important thing to realize is like that you have the power inside yourself to do pretty much anything. And it's fun because that's like where I'm kind of being pushed to, is like helping people break free of that. Like everything, society, what society's telling them to do. It's telling them that they have to go and punch in and punch out to a job, and they can't have this job where they feel like they're, not clocking in and clocking out every day. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess if that fulfills you. Yeah. Awesome. If you feel, then more power to you. And I think that's, I get frustrated sometimes too. And I don't know if you've ever seen some of my posts and things on social media. Is like, look, hey man, I don't care what you do, so long as it fills your soul. That's it. Like, I don't care if you're a chiropractor and you do modalities, or you do acupuncture, or and maybe people who are listening to this don't really understand that, in the chiropractic space, we all kind of argue back and forth about who should do what and practice how, which way. But if it fulfills your soul, and at the end of the day, you're actually helping people.
That's it. That's what I say all the time.
That's it.
You just, at the end of the day, if you're helping people and you feel like you're doing the right thing, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how you do it.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you what, if again, it's like when you're lying in a hospital or you're on your deathbed, at the end of the day, it doesn't, if you look back and you're like looking with regret. Yep. You're like, man, time. Like, I spent so much time, wasted time doing stuff, just shit I didn't want to do.
So you posted this video, I think it was like a week or two ago, you were at WarriorCon, and you were talking about how you were there to heal your soul. It wasn't about going there to learn the technique, like new, I don't know, new techniques or new ways to do business or sell online courses and all that. It was really about healing your soul. And I mean, that was super powerful. And you talked about your disease and how you ended up where you're at. I thought that was like one of the best videos I've ever seen you post. It was really
for those people who are listening who don't know, clearly don't know what happened. And back in 2009, sorry, I don't know if I don't know. Hopefully you don't hear that background noise. I think there's someone mowing their lawn outside.
It's all right. I have like cars going by all the time and it's
In 2009, I was considered a pretty healthy guy. So I was like 39 years of age. And I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So that's an autoimmune condition. And it was bad. It wasn't like, hey, I got to take some aspirin and I'll be okay. It was like that. So I did what every person, and I don't care if you're a health provider or you're anyone else, like it's every person wants to do what they can that's natural, without drugs, without surgery. We did it all and I got better. And in the end, I had a stricture which required emergency surgery. And then after that, I never was the same. Like I still, every day it's a struggle for me in certain ways. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially the story in a nutshell. And if it wasn't for that gift of like, look, that I call it the gift of urgency. Yeah. Like it's like there's nothing more urgent in your life than when you're diagnosed with something that's life-threatening, right? There's nothing more urgent in your life than when you're sitting at Christmas time selling your guitars because you can't buy presents for your boys, and you pay your mortgage. That's urgency. And that's usually what's lacking when it comes to online business or just business in general for a lot of people, by the way, is they just don't have that sense of urgency. So yeah, that's my story. I mean, that was a gift for me because I learned the lesson of urgency. I always take action. I always execute. I had to figure stuff out really quickly, because I couldn't practice.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean,
they took part of your brain out, literally. Like your gut is like a second brain. They took it out of your body and like
it's gone.
You were missing a huge piece.
Yeah. And I mean, and I mentioned in that video, I was like, hey, look, because I've done videos like that maybe in the past or communicated those same kind of messages. But what I realized that in that moment in that video was like, look, it's not about the next drug. It's not about the next surgery. It's not about the next nutritional. Because I get so many people messaging me, like, can help me. And I'm just like, it's not about that. It's an internal game. Right. I got to heal myself. I got to heal my soul. Once that's healed, this is an internal game. Like, so I got to heal myself.
Yeah, and I agree.
And yeah, and I'm set on the path now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the next level.
You have to do it yourself. It's like physically, you're going to do all the right things, but it's just that piece of you that was torn away. You got to like just heal it, And it's funny that people contact you all the time and try to show you a new way or like, I can heal you. Like you haven't tried it. I don't know.
I've had my L1 checked. Yes.
Yeah, you totally would have tried it, and they already did like it's already done. Like you got to move on.
Yeah, and I think again, if you're a health pro, if you're not, a lot of people can understand. I'm sure they can. This will resonate with you no matter what. Is that look? I mean, there are certain conditions. I don't care whether it's cancer, heart disease. There is an emotional component to all of these things. There's an internal game. Mm-hmm. There's reason why some people get well after being diagnosed with cancer and some people don't.
Right. That's why they say that praying and certain mindset, like that can actually help you get over cancer.
Yeah.
And in your case, like you said, like some people have these life-threatening diseases and yours is like, but it's not like immediately life-threatening. For me, it is like yours is kind of more life-threatening because you don't just die. Like you have to live with that for such a long time. Like it's literally taking away your life and you have to just watch it pass. It's like you're kind of like you're in jail, like, and you have to watch your life just slowly drift away. Or you can take charge and take control and heal yourself and empower yourself and shift your life into something that's more aligned with your purpose or still aligned with your purpose, but maybe in a different way.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to, it becomes easy to sedate yourself. And I don't mean like sedate, like I'm going to take a drug that puts me to sleep. I mean like sedate yourself or, by taking, so like you can take a medication that can make you feel better, but clearly that's not a good strategy.
So you're putting the Band-Aid on. You're just like putting the Band-Aid on until you
until it stops
put it on
working
anymore, and it just turns into this like festering wound that you need you don't wrap the whole leg up. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's almost a metaphor for life, right? Is that we often do that in life and business, is that we put Band-Aids on and we expect long-term solutions, and it's not the case.
Absolutely.
So getting by for me is no longer okay, right? I mean, it's my business has always been something that's always just exploded and been exponential in growth and results. It's just, now I have to apply that to other dimensions of my life. So my relationship, with my wife and my kids and my spirituality. And then also, when it comes to my health, my healing.
Right. There's so much more to the business than just business, right? There's your body, your health, your mind, your soul. That's what this podcast is about. That's why I started, because you have to have all those things in alignment in order to be successful. And all those things can amplify your success in your life. Yeah. And so when you made that shift in your mindset, and you do help a lot of people with their mindset shift. What was your biggest tool, your most powerful tool that you used to help shift your mindset to an iron mindset? And I heard you say that before. That's why I'm using that.
That's a great question. Are you referring to in my business or in my?
I feel like you can use those like mindset shift tools in anything, It could be in your business, could be in your life. Like, so for instance, on one of my first podcasts this girl I was talking to, she's an entrepreneur. She's super successful. She's blowing up, but it was like her relationship and how she got into it with her husband that allowed her to be able to make the mindset shift later on in her business, like not caring what people think. So.
Yeah. I think that, it's such a hard question to answer. I think that what allows me is I always have, God, I don't want to use a cliche of I'm a fighter, man. I mean, if I get angry, is anger a technology?
Yeah, whatever you have to do, man. Like, that's it.
I just don't accept answer. Yeah, like I get knocked down, right? So what I find is, or what I see or observe is, like, people get knocked down, they just stay down, they don't get up. They get pushed, they don't push back. So I get angry. I'm like, no, man, this is not acceptable. I will not accept this level of mediocrity in my life.
That's just like,
and that's
she's a fighter, man. Like just like
Yeah. So, I mean, my wife, Karen's a fighter. I'm a fighter. Everything that we have ever wanted in our life, we've fought for. Like when we went to chiropractic college, we went there with $10,000 in credit cards. I don't know how we graduated. Like, it's crazy. But we've always fought for those things. And believe it or not, I mean, the more that you fight, the more the universe actually provides.
Yeah.
It's like a universal law or something.
The more that you prove that people, like, everyone tells you can't do that, or you can't do this, or you're not qualified, you just have to like prove them wrong, Hey man, I had a client today. She messaged me and she's like, dude, like, why am I not seeing? She first of all, she's doing one of the cancers, right? Which is, we talk about the 5 cancers. I can't remember them all, what they all are, but one of the cancers is comparison, right? When in business and life, and so comparing yourself to other people, right? I mean, you can go down that road, but at the end of the day, when you ask the hard questions, it's like, did you do the work that was required to get the result that you want? And comparing yourself to other people, that's like death to you. Like, you just can't do it. You have to compare yourself to you, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, where'd you come from? Where'd they come from? You can't really compare at all. Everyone has a different starting point. Everyone has a different path. Like, your path is going to be different than mine. Mine's going to be different than yours. Be different from your wife's. Like, we're all going to be different. So comparing to other people, I feel like that's just like death to your progress. Really, you're never going to make progress.
Yeah, I love, like, I aspire to be like at that level.
Yeah.
I live I love learning from what other people have created. So one of the questions, I don't know if we're given hacks here, but one of the questions was like, why am I not at that level? And I'm like, well, you need to invest at that level to get those results. So I buy everything online, man. I'm a sucker. Yep. Like I buy everything, but I buy it because I'm a hack. Like I don't just buy people's stuff and programs and mentorship and all that just so that I can, because I think that I need it. I do it because I'm like, how do they do this?
Yeah, I do the same exact thing. I like get all these, I opt into everybody's lists and all this stuff because I want to see like, how are they doing it? What are they doing? Like, what are they, like, how are they getting there? You know, what are they offering? I want to see their process.
Exactly. And then how can you make that then true to you, right? Yeah. So that it works for you.
Yeah. It's not just copying. Like I've seen other people, like my friend Scott Olford, he does like these Facebook bots and like teaching people how to get leads and stuff like that. People literally copy his exact email, his exact funnel, and then put it out there like it just word for word and then think that no one's ever going to know. And they become part of his program. I don't know why people even do, like, how do people even feel okay doing that? Like, you want to do something that's your own. Like there's no fulfillment in just copying.
Yeah. And here's the thing I've learned is, you know, because that used to bother me because I see that too. Like people will buy my stuff just so they can clone it. And what I've learned is that it doesn't matter because I can create, like I created a program products that I just launched and it blew up like just recently. Mm-hmm. But if you had told me like I was going to create that product program like even 8 weeks ago, I probably would have said like, I'll never do direct shipping. I'll never do that. So it's like, that's the beauty of possibility is that you know, if you can think about it, dream it up, man, people can copy all your stuff all day long, but they will never be a producer like yourself or see the possibility and be able to create things. That's a beautiful thing about online business, virtual practice, online business, whatever you want to call it. Is like we can pull things out of thin air and just like create it. I don't have to go and lease a building, you know, to do it.
Gives you that mobility and the speed to market, I think, is like one of the most like alluring things. Like having an idea and then getting it out there in like 6 to 8 weeks. You can't open up a business in 6 to 8 weeks, like a brick and mortar. Like the town will not let that happen. Like when I was moving my practice, like it took me 6 months just to move to another building. They just wouldn't let it happen. Their permits and everything. Like, so. Yeah. So maybe I should have asked at the beginning, but I wanted to know, what was the transition like going from brick and mortar to virtual? Like, and how did you do it? Because a lot of people, especially where I live in the Northeast, like by New York City, they don't believe in virtual businesses. They don't think they're real. They think you have to have an office. They think you have to go to a place. And then once you're in that place for so long, it's hard to just like shift your mindset about getting out of it. Like, not doing it anymore.
I mean, I fought to stay in the practice, like in my brick and mortar. Like I fought with it, and you got to the point where I remember like I would like literally be in driving to the office in pain, thinking I will never get through this day. I will never get through this day. Like, and it's like a 3-hour shift, but I would see like maybe 100 patients. It was busy.
It's a lot.
Like it was a lot of patients, and then I would be sick for a day, 2 days after that. And so I think, again, it came from the urgency and necessity of just like, look, I got to figure this out so that I don't have to I can be at home so I can heal. So for me, the transition was more of a mental game of just like, okay, I can understand, like, well, number one, it was hard to separate myself from people who had literally grown. Some of the kids had grown up in practice with me, you know, like the patients, I mean, the connection on a daily basis. So when I started my online business, it was all about connection. That's why I started my podcast to begin with too. Mm-hmm. So I could still connect with people. It's just, you know, it was virtual, right?
Right.
And then from there, it was just like, how am I going to monetize this? Like, how can I actually make money from it? And I spent a lot of time, spent a lot of money, made a lot of mistakes. I don't need to go through all of those. And before finally I just realized or discovered, okay, like actually this is how it works. And then it got a little better. And then it got a little better. And then once I actually had people reaching out to me. So here's a big tip is like, once you find your soul genius, and you start to connect with other people, you build an audience, a following, and people will actually ask you for help.
Yeah.
That's your product. When people started people started coming to me going, Ed, how do I create how do I do what you do? How do I create a virtual practice? How do I create an online business? And I go, well, maybe I can help you there. And I created a program. Mm-hmm. So that was my step into the online world. And, here's the part of the story I don't talk a lot about is that my wife, who started our practice together, she's a chiropractor. She was still in my practice, still in the practice. And she was way less fulfilled than she had ever been before, because now I'm doing this, she's doing that. We started practice together. That was our dream. We were a team, and it was not what we envisioned. It was not the dream. Mm-hmm. So she's like, no, I want to be where you are. I want to be at home. I want to spend more time with my kids. So she did exactly what this is like a formula, man. So she did exactly what took me 12 months, but it did it in 3 months. Created a podcast, connected. She has way more listens. She gets 3,000 people listen to her a day. She built a business and a following for about 2 or 3 months. Then she created her first product service, launched it on a webinar. And then it's just been gangbusters since then. So in 3 months, she did what I did in 12 months.
That's amazing.
And now we're both, connected again. She's upstairs doing client calls. I'm here in the office. Actually, she's probably just heading over to pick up my son. But it's been a really, I think the reason I get so passionate about this too is I want more docs. I want more chiropractors, entrepreneurs. I want them to experience that, because I think they give up way too easy, and they discount their value that they bring to the world. So, was it an easy transition? No. Was there a lot time and money invested? Yes. I mean, all of those things. But I mean, if I want to drop a piece of advice here, is just follow someone who knows what they're doing and has results. They've done it before you, and then pay them.
Yeah. I know that. I was just talking to somebody about that. They contacted me. They were asking me advice, and I told them to take one of my friend's courses, and she didn't want to invest. I'm like, you have to. And she said, can I barter some of my services with her? Probably not. If you're not going to invest that money, then there's no commitment.
Bartering doesn't work.
No, not at all.
Bartering doesn't work. No. There's no urgency in bartering. You invest $100,000 to make $1 million.
Yeah.
Would you do that? Most people would just go, I don't have $100,000. Whereas a lot of the people that I know that are successful, they would go, where do I find $100,000?
Yeah, exactly. It's resourcefulness. Right? That's
first level up investment. I cashed my kids' education fund. Mm-hmm. I've cashed it. I didn't have the money, but I made that money back in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And actually 3x'd it.
You have to. I mean, even when we started Shreds, it was with a credit card, and it was in chiropractic school. I didn't have any money. It was negative money. I had student loans. You just have to do it. You have this thing that you want to do, and you see a way, and you just make it happen.
Yep.
And people aren't willing to invest that. So I didn't have the ability to hire a mentor or learn from it. There was no one to learn from. So before that, I worked in that industry for 3 years to learn that, and made $500 a week doing it, and that was nothing. In New Jersey, I couldn't even move out of my parents' house. So, but I wanted to learn. You either invest the time or you invest the money to learn.
I mean, it's powerful, man. It's I get it. I get it on one level that people go, I don't have the money. But then I also understand too that I go, well, I had nothing. I didn't even have my health at the time. So I'm not really accepting of excuses or reasons. So yeah, I mean, everyone can come up with the first level of cash they need to up level their life to the next, and then you up level to the next level. Once you get results, then you up level to the next level. So I just sat down, I went to Warrior Con. They made an offer, because that's why they get everyone at Warrior Con. And my wife said to me, she's like, what does it feel like for you to sit in a room a powerful 500 powerful men and be able to have an upper level offer like that come across the table? And it's it's not about the money. It's just about, is it right for me? Is it fulfill my soul to do this? Right. So, I mean, it's powerful stuff when money and cash flow solves problems. You want to hit the next spiritual level, free yourself up in your cash flow.
Yeah, you absolutely need to. That, And you're right. Like you said, it's not about the money at that point. Like it's about, is it right for me? How does it make you, like, what are you going to get out of it? Is it going to help you progress to that next level? Or is it something that maybe just isn't for you? And that's, I think that's freedom to be able to make that decision. And
Yeah.
you can do that at all levels. Like you don't have to have $1,000,000 to do it. You just have to know how to make those decisions. And
Yeah.
is it better? Is taking that chance better than where you're at currently? Is it better than, living paycheck to paycheck or having nothing or having to struggle every day? And then if you lose that money, you have to keep doing that. So what? It's not that big of a deal. So
here's the thing though. Here's the thing is I know that of that room and that upper level of people who invested, there were people in this, and there were men in that room who it was an issue. Like, I mean, they're like, I don't know how I'm going to get this cash, but I'm doing it. Like it was an issue, but those guys, what did they do? They implemented urgency into their life, man. They're going to kill it.
Yeah. Then you have to make that back. It's like I don't know too many rich kids that have made so when you're handed this thing and you don't have that urgency. And I kind of feel like I got into that place in some aspects. Like I have money now and I'm like, I feel like I'm getting too soft. I don't know. Like I don't have that urgency. So I have to like make myself have that urgency because it doesn't feel like it did when I had nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to burn some bridges, burn some ships, So, yeah, that's like even a year ago, Karen and I were like, we sold everything we own. Like we burned a ship, man. Like there was no going back. It's like, we don't have a house, like when when I look back and reflect on it, and this lesson of urgency just keeps coming and appearing in my life, is we were just setting urgency in our life. So we had to, they had to perform. It's like, we got to find another house, place to live.
I mean, people think you're crazy, but like, did you see the McDonald's, that movie about Ray Kroc?
I haven't. No.
He mortgaged, like it's Kevin Costner, whatever. But I mean, the story is like super powerful. It's McDonald's. It's not healthy, but he mortgaged his house to be able to make those deals. Like he had nothing. He was a traveling salesman. I think he was like almost 60 years old at the time. He was just trying to make it, grinding. And he saw this like amazing opportunity, mortgaged his house to be able to franchise the McDonald's. They kept doing it until McDonald's is actually the biggest real estate company in the world. I don't know if you knew.
Wow.
Like they own all the that's how they, like if people decided not to eat McDonald's anymore, they would still be super wealthy because he just bought all the real estate that all the McDonald's were on. And that's how he was able to build that business that kind of wasn't really his in the first place, but that's another thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So like you talked about like learning from people and finding somebody that has done it before that you can learn from. Like who are your mentors? I know we both have a mutual friend, Jesse Elder. He's one of my mentors. He was my number one on my podcast. So.
Oh, great. Good job, man. I think for me, who was the first real level was Garrett. So Garrett J. White. So with Warrior, and that was years ago. So like week 20, I did Warrior week 20. That was when I cashed my kids' education fund. And then I got back and I'm like, well, I hit that next level and I'm like, okay, what's next? And I'm like, well, who was Garrett's mentor? And I'm like, oh, it's Jesse. so I worked with Jesse for a while. And then more recently, back in November 2016, I joined on with .com Inner Secrets. So Russell Brunson is my mentor, you'd say. Mm-hmm. And so pretty cool to have him on Voxer. And then, I guess I'm kind of gone full circle and come right back to Garrett again. So, but Garrett's at a different place now than he was 2 years ago.
Isn't it amazing to see your mentors grow, like while you grow too? Like in your I love that stuff. Like you don't want to see you don't want a mentor that just like kind of stays in one spot and doesn't really grow with you. Like, they get to this level and then they're going to bring you up there too with them. Like there's still so much to learn.
I remember like with the conversation with Jesse too, and I was on an app call with him, an enrollment call, and he goes, because it was for his 320 group or whatever it was, I can't remember, and And I remember him asking me like, how much money do you make a month? And I'm like going, he wants me to, oh no, he said, how much do you want to make a month? And I remember thinking, okay, well, he wants me to say 15,000, but it's really only 5,000. That's all I want to make. And I just thought how incredible that number seemed. Like, $15,000 of online income a month. And he's like, if you can do, this is a huge, he goes, if you do 15, it's just one step to go to 30. And he was right. He took me to 30K in 6 weeks.
Yeah. It's just a little shift, a little course correction. I mean, Jesse is like, he's one of the smartest people I know. I mean, even though he didn't have like a formal education, he had a different kind of education. It was kind of like that. He was able to make his own choices, which I love, and when I talk to Jesse, I'm like, every time, just like something clicks.
Yeah. The dude can basically coach. If you have a coach who can do a text message consult, like call with, instead of a call, like, hey, well, we couldn't make the call, but we'll do text messaging because he's in an airport, and they can coach you to the next level on a text message. That's pretty cool. So no, he's next level. Like, I mean, like when you have you got a good coach and mentor who within like 10, 15 minutes can see exactly what's going on and then course correct and get you what you need. So I love that. I mean, I was like, I think we had like 1 hour call scheduled, and it was like, I was done in 15 minutes. Dude, just drop knowledge. And I'm just kind of pragmatic. I'm like, okay, done. I'll go execute. See ya. Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were in New York City, and it was one of our coaching days, and I just like got what I needed to get done in like 10 minutes, and we just hung out the rest of the time, and I don't, it costs money, but I don't care. It was worth the value of what I got out of it. It's not about the time. Like if I was a time puncher, then I would have cared.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be if you want to do what we're doing.
No. And it's not for, I mean, I have to be careful. Like, I mean, online business, it's not for everyone. It may not, again, we talked about like what fulfills your soul, what gives you that purpose. I mean, it may not be for everyone, but there's definitely, it's just limitless in possibilities. I can't even tell you like the conversations I have with people of what they want to create. And I'm like, oh man, I've never heard of that before, but here's how I would do it if it was you. Like, it's just the coolest stuff. And people are like, man, Ed, this is the cool. I love I could talk all day about this. How do I monetize it? And then scale it, which is more important, which is about getting time back, which means like, again, like and then you have time to focus on those other areas of life and not punching a clock.
Yeah. I mean, there's people that, like, they make millions of dollars on YouTube and Twitch just playing video games. Like playing video games.
I know, dude. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's crazy.
I don't get it. And then we minimize what we do as people or as professionals. If it's a health professional, right?
So
our value.
For example, like, one of the things I've realized is people who have like a professional degree or license, like in my mastermind group that I'm part of, like there's me and then another girl, she's a naturopath, Dr. Lowe. And it's just like, for us to be able to do something, it's a little bit harder. I feel like as our mindset, we went through school and we have this like, maybe we're not qualified enough kind of thing that's stuck in our head, even though we're both successful. And other people just like, it just clicks for them because they don't have that, I guess, the formal education. I don't know what it is. I think it's the formal education that kind of blocks you. So it's like undoing all that mindset stuff that school kind of ingrains in us.
We like to make things complicated.
Yeah.
And they're not. Actually, the more simple. So if there's anything I've learned that, with creating all like incredibly successful launches in online business and, going next level is the more simple that you make something, like whether it's a funnel or a sequence, an online business, it doesn't matter. The more simple it is, the less shit that goes wrong. Because even with a simple online business, things go wrong, right? You got a course corrector or something, if you mail something, people don't get it. I mean, like stuff like that. Like, but the more simple that you keep it, but I just find as the more education we have, it seems like the more complex we feel the need to make things, which is really, honestly, it's probably a stall tactic. Yeah. It's just scarce. Yeah. They're just scared to execute.
And I feel like it's the same in a regular business, or it's just working in a job or a relationship or like getting in shape. Like just keep it simple. Just follow that process and just course correct when it doesn't work.
Yeah. And it ain't about the logos.
No, it's not about the logo.
The colors.
Not about the logo. That's not that. You can always change that. Like my wife is like doing her own home brand, and she's like working on the logo and like a supplement for brain health. And she's like caring so much about the logo. I'm like, Starbucks changed their logo like 20 times and they're still Starbucks. Like logos change. It's not that important. It's about what the product is and the message behind it and the feeling that people get. It's the emotional feeling. Like that's the most important thing.
I literally will pick a brand name logo and be done in 48 hours and launch.
Yeah.
In a week. Like it's all about the execution and the speed of execution. And people I have clients that are personal clients. They get on a call with me every week, which is premium. And they're still trying to figure out what colors they want for their logo. And I'm like, no, what are we doing here? So no, it's all speed of implementation, speed of execution, and just getting things launched, like getting them out there is definitely one of the secrets, the keys.
Yeah, I agree. That's, in every business. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I just have like a few more things I want to ask you. So what are 3 things that you would go back and tell your 20 to 25-year-old self? I didn't know when you started chiro school. So pre-chiro school, like what are 3 things? Like, would you do it? Would you not? What would you maybe not doing as long? Yeah, like 3 lessons.
My dog's barking.
It's all right.
Sorry, man. You're gonna have to do some editing.
No, and Jesse's his podcast, if you listen to it, there's like birds chirping and stuff like that. I think he was doing one of those like where he was walking around his backyard on his phone, but it's okay because he's like a nomad.
So 3 things that I would tell myself, my younger self.
Yeah, like pre-chiro school. Like what?
Yeah, I think number 1, just believe in yourself. Number 2 is get a mentor, and number 3 would be just invest in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And then one more thing. So I think you kind of like talked about it a little bit. So SoulAbility, one of the tenements of SoulAbility is that our body is a metaphor for success. Like if you want to be successful in like transforming your body or being healthy or whatever it is, there's lessons that you can learn with it. And the same are true in nature, right? But those lessons can also be applied towards success. Like what's one lesson that your body has taught you to be successful in life?
I think the main lesson for me is just that I'm more powerful than I know.
Yeah.
So every time I push my body, there's also a mental component to that. But every time I push myself physically, I'm always like surprised at exactly how much stuff I can actually do and how much I underestimate, my physical strength, and I think that translates over to my business as well and mindset.
Yeah. It's okay if your dog is barking. It's all right. But I think that's like so true. If we totally underestimate our strength and our physical strength and also our mental strength and everything. Like one of the stories that I always go back to is the movie 300, Leonidas. Like people don't realize the actual real Leonidas was 60 years old when he was fighting the Spartans. Now, if you walk around like modern day America and you ask any 60-year-old if they would go into battle with someone or if they thought they would be strong enough at 60 years old to fight somebody or lead an army, they wouldn't believe you. They would never think that it was possible. That's always like a little mind fuck for people when you say like someone is way older than you thought that was doing this physical thing. It's crazy. And a lot of those old, like the ancient leaders and stuff, they were a lot older than we thought, and they died because someone else killed them. They like ended their reign because they didn't want their ideas around anymore, rather than they weren't strong enough to do it. So, you know.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's absolutely true. You know what? I think there's a delivery.
It's all right. All right. Well, I mean that. I think we're good anyway. You know. So, I just want to know. I just want you to let people know where people can find you. If there's anywhere you want them to go, anything you want them to do, just you know, let them know.
Yeah, I mean, like if they want to check out some of my podcasts, so the chiropracticphilanthropist.com, and that's the chiropracticphilanthropist.com. They could even check out, you know, the laptop lifestyle podcast.com. So we have some really incredible guests who are online entrepreneurs, like high level people like, you know, Marcy Locke and Grant Cardone have been on that show. So yeah, they can check me out there. I apologize for the dogs barking today. If anyone knows me or follows me, my dogs bark sometimes. Wednesdays and Thursdays, I usually have them at daycare, so for production, but I did a webinar yesterday instead. So yeah, you can follow me there. Definitely connect with, I would encourage you to also connect with me on Facebook. So I have a personal public profile page. You can find Dr. Ed Osburn or the Chiropractic Philanthropist as well.
Yeah. And it's, you know, the stuff you put out is not just for chiropractors, even though it's kind of directed towards, some of it's directed towards chiropractors, but it can apply to anyone that wants to just like make a shift in their life. Yeah. So I really appreciate you having you on today. I know you're busy, but I think, you know, you dropped a lot of knowledge and value on our listeners. So I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you sharing your story. And maybe we can do like a 3-way one day with Jesse Elder. I think that'd be a pretty sweet episode.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Not in a sexual way, but.
That's awesome.
Right.
No, I get it.
All right, brother. Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you guys for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate all the support and all the kind words that I'm getting about these podcasts. It really fires me up to want to do more and to help you guys out as much as I possibly can. So if you haven't already, if you can leave a review in iTunes, I would really, really appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next episode.